This is the first video on this channel, so if you're seeing this, welcome to the beginning line. Right, let's skip the BS and get straight into today's video. Intermittent protein fasting. Intermittent protein fasting is a diet plan constructed by a YouTuber called Hamza. The basics of this plan is you're going to want to have 1 scoop of protein powder every 3 to 4 hours due to muscle protein synthesis, which is the process where your body builds new muscle fibers. This process can continue for up to 48 hours, but the majority of it happens in the first 3. Most people would say that this would break the fasting period, but the thing is, we're not fasting from calories, we're fasting from fat and carbs. Sorry that. And most good protein powders only have 1 gram of fat and no carbs. Sorry, it's the wrong way around. Only has 1 gram of carbs and no fat in them per scoop. And the second part of this plan is choosing whether or not to start OMAD, which is where you only eat 1 meal a day. Now I recommend that you build up to this point and don't immediately shoot straight up to it, because otherwise you're probably just gonna give up. You're gonna regress back to eating all the crap you've been eating, go back to eating the crisps or the junk. You'd have a better time building up to it, doing like a 16-8 split, which is more of it's much easier than having only 1 meal. The 16-8 split is where you don't eat for 16 hours and you only eat for 8. Now that sounds quite difficult, but once you realise that you're sleeping for around what you should be for around 8 hours a day, you'll be only fasting for 10 hours. And in my experience of doing a 16-8 fast, I wake up about 6 a.m. and I only start to get hungry probably about 7 p.m. So it's not that bad. And normally I would eat before 7 p.m. That's like if I didn't eat before that point. So it's not too bad. The first thing to do, onto the actual plan now, sorry. The first thing you want to do when you wake up is to have a scoop of protein. The best thing to do after having this first scoop of protein is to go to the gym, because of obviously muscle protein synthesis, as we've just learned. 3 to 4 hours after you've had this first scoop, when you just woke up, you want to have another scoop to keep that muscle protein synthesis going. And have them 3 to 4 hours, preferably 3, but if you're a bit late, it's not really that big of a deal. If you're a bit early, it's not that big of a deal either. Have 3 to 4 after each other. If you're not on OMADs and you have a longer split, you're going to want to have a meal before, obviously, if you eat at 7 p.m, the latest, like the night before, you're going to want to eat before that, because you'll be really hungry and you want to build up to OMAD. Make sure you're having high carb foods that are all processed and clean. And what I mean by clean foods is not sugary, Basically, if you look at the ingredient list on the back, there should be no ingredients. That's what I mean by clean foods. I mean, if you look at the ingredients list for a McDonald's, there's going to be so much crap on there you don't understand and you don't know what is. And if you Google it, you won't understand what it is, because it's all science crap. So, I mean, if you look at the packaging on a tomato, what's the ingredients in a tomato? There is none. Same with, cucumbers, broccoli, beef. There is no ingredients. So you want to eat proper, clean, unprocessed, unfiltered food. You're going to want to avoid sugar at all costs. You don't want to have sugar. You're good to have fat, good to have pork, good to have all that. Because believe it or not, we've been told that fat isn't good for us. We've got these keto diets, you've got fat-free diets, high carb, low fat. You don't want to avoid fat. Fat is very good for you, in a moderate amount, obviously. But sugar in any amount, I mean processed sugar, obviously sugar in fruit is good for you, because it's naturally occurring. But like sugar and like Haribos or, Doritos. It's not good in any amount. Um, Speaking of like, naturally occurring, you only want to eat foods that would occur like, you know, if we didn't make them. If you get what I'm saying. I think that's easy to understand. If you're on OMAD though, you want to have a lot of nutrition and calories and carbs, obviously, all in one meal. Because then, that's all the nutrition you get throughout the day. Actually, I've got my food here. I'll show you right now. So, this is the food I was about to eat right after I finished this recording. It's got 200 grams of couscous, 100 grams of chicken breast, a bunch of sweet corn, green beans, broccoli, tomato, peppers, kidney beans, spinach. So this is really, really high in nutritional value. And it's very good. And another thing you can do when you're on this, or when you're on OMAD or fasting, is put a bit of salt in your protein shakes. Sorry. There we go. Put a bit of salt in your protein shakes. Now you're probably thinking, why? Salt's bad for you. But if you're training in the morning, you'll especially want to put it in your morning protein shake. Just like a pinch or two, not too much, because that's bad. Too much is bad. Dehydrate you. No matter how much water you have, it'll still dehydrate you. So if you put that salt in there, salt can act as an electrolyte, which will give you your energy back. The same as potassium in bananas, there's sodium in salt. So by putting that in your water, an electrolyte basically is what gives you your energy, and it's very good for recovery. So by putting that in your water, like before you do your workout and after your workout, you'll recover quite a bit better, And that's why bananas are quite good, because potassium. But on a 16 to 8, you should definitely be eating bananas, because they're one of the best, most nutritionally high recovery fruits. Very good. So I think that's all I've got for today's video. I went on quite a bit of a rant at the end, but thanks for watching. Subscribe.